Hey again, guys. You know what I like to do when I have something on my mind? I like to look at some baseball cards. So, this has always gone on in the collecting community. Even when I was a little kid, this whole idea of prospecting. And over the last few years, you hear all the time, people don't understand how prospects, their cards can sell for so much more than the great players, right? This is something that a lot of people don't understand, but it's always gone on. And I think really it is how human beings are built, in that you and I, we always are looking to the future. We rarely enjoy the present. In fact, I would venture to say that very few people, or maybe no people, live fully in the present. We are always focused on the future. When you're in school, you can't wait to get out of school and go to college. You're focused on going to college. When you're in college, you can't wait to get out of college. You are focused on, what will I do with my life? What job will I have? You work towards doing that. And then, once you get a job and you get a career, you work to that promotion or that next level. When you don't have a whole lot of money and you're starting out, you focus on, tomorrow I'm going to have more money. When you're overweight, tomorrow I'm going to start dieting. You see the people that have the big meals, they're like, I'm pigging out because tomorrow I'm going to start dieting and working out. They're always focused on that future and not enjoying the present. And that's, I think, just human nature. And then when you are working and getting burned out, you're looking forward to retirement. How can I save enough money to get to retirement? You come up with plans of things you're going to do in the future. And then when you start to get to retirement, hey, what am I going to do in retirement? We're in a constant flow of focusing on the future. And then when we're not focusing on the future, what are we doing? We're reminiscing about the past. Myself included in this, along with all of you. We talk about the way things used to be, the way America used to be, the way the card collecting community used to be, the way card collecting used to be. Things change. And when we're focused on the past and we're focused on the future, we can't enjoy the present. We can't truly enjoy the present. And I think with us card collectors, we get so focused on the chase of the next big thing, of the next card we want, that oftentimes, man, we don't enjoy the wonderful collections we have. We're focused on what we don't have. And isn't that human nature? It's like, it's the theory of hierarchy, right? Where, once you have a home, then you want a better home. Or once you have a car, then you want a better car. Once you have a little bit of money, you want more money. Once you have that job, you want the promotion. And once you have so many cards, or you get the one dream card, then you focus on the next dream card. And I don't think we truly enjoy the present of what we have. And how could you possibly enjoy the present if you're always focused on the future or you're always focused on the past? With card collecting, there's an interesting dynamic where we're focused on the next guy to win 4 Super Bowls. But we don't enjoy Joe Montana, who already did it. Uh, we focus on the next World Series star, but we're not focused on guys like Reggie Jackson and enjoying what we already have from those guys. It's like these prospects are priced to be better than Tom Brady, win more Super Bowls, go to more Super Bowls than Tom Brady. How likely is that? You know, you see these guys, and let's put grade aside because you can't compare brand new cards in 10s to, you know, Mickey Mantle in the 60s in 10s. But if we put like sales into perspective, aside from his early cards, you could get nearly all the years of Mickey Mantle cards for cheaper than guys were paying for Bobby Herbert. Not Bobby Herbert. I always confuse him with Bobby Hebert for some reason. I always want to call him Hebert. Sorry about that. Justin Herbert. You know, it's selling for way more than most of Mickey Mantle's cards. Because we're focused on the future and what he might be. Well, he's already so far behind Tom Brady. Nowhere even close. None of these guys. Maybe Mahomes. Mahomes could be on track. But aside from that, there aren't too many guys that could ever be the next Tom Brady. But that's what we focus on. The future. Hey guys, why don't we focus on the present? Why can't we come into our card rooms or look through our collections and be at total peace, be totally content, be totally satisfied? Because we want the chase. That next thing, we focus on what we don't have. Isn't that human nature? We always focus on what we don't have, which is a really bad thing to do. I really try to come up with ways to enjoy my collection, to enjoy collecting without having to buy a whole lot more. You know, I'm buying little things here and there, but nowhere near what I was. So I have to come up with other ways to entertain myself. And now I have a little more time on my hands. I have a job that's not as stressful and overwhelming as I used to. I went back on my own. I dedicated this year to myself and to some freedom. And I just haven't been in the mood to pay a lot of money for cards. And we've seen card prices come so far down. And you know, it's funny because I did a video 2 years ago. I did a video a year ago. Did a video 3 years ago. And I told everybody, I don't compare cards to the stock market. It's not a direct comparison. But any kind of things that are or become assets go through fluctuations. They have booms and busts. And when the card market was booming, nobody thought they could ever come down again. You know, some people were calling for a crash, but everybody's still buying at those prices and overly optimistic. And I remember a few years ago when the stock market was on fire, I had made huge money on a stock, and I called and I sold it, and I told my broker, you know, the market's too high. It just can't stay here. And when I sold, he's like, well, yeah, it can. And I'm like, you are a moron stockbroker if you're telling people that the stock market will never, ever go down again. You are a moron. I mean, history has proven that we have booms and busts. When the housing market was up and you couldn't go wrong and everybody's flipping homes, you knew it had to bust at some point. Goes down, then it came back up. Stock market goes down, it comes back up. So a few years ago, during the boom of cards, you know, nobody could go wrong. Nobody could go wrong. It's the same with day traders. And I've always pointed to this in my other videos. In the late '90s, it was a bull market. I remember a guy I knew from high school, and he was in business with me in town. Not with me, but in the same community. And he drove around, and I remember his license plate said Bull Market, Bull MKT, I think. And that was the market was on fire. It was never going to go down again. We had internet stocks, and then the collapse came. Everybody had been day trading, quitting their jobs, writing all these books on day trading. After that collapse, you need volatility. You need stocks running to day trade to make a lot of money. Like you're a short seller during a collapse, right? You need that volatility. You need stocks to really jump up on the powerful days. And so all of a sudden, nobody's day trading anymore. Nobody's writing any books on day trading. All of a sudden, everybody's a long-term investor. But came roaring back. Sometimes it takes many years. Sometimes it takes a decade. Other times it's quick. I remember during COVID, I'm watching the stock market. The Dow's down 1,000 today. The next day it's down 2,000. It felt like, it was never going to come back. And I've always said I've been through a lot of booms and busts and a lot of different things. And they happen. So now in the card market, what's happening? We're going through a bust. A little bit of a bust. And I'll tell you, like with stocks, like some days, you think like 2008-ish, I'll never forget it. I went out and bought a world-class sports car. And I committed, somebody was asking me why I bought the car. I said, if I can lose all my money in the stock market, I might as well have something to show for it. Because it's like down $10,000 every day during that collapse. It was just insane every time I looked. I mean, things can get a lot worse than you think. You can go to bed at night and want to cry because your cards are down, because the stock market's down, whatever. You're flipping a house. And you go and you want to cry. It's down so much. And the next day, the next week, the next month could be down way more. And history has proven that that's the time that you should be buying. That is the time that you should be buying. Can you imagine? I remember somebody called me, the Dow had dropped from, 14,500 down to 12,000, and then boom, down to 6,500. And I remember when it was at 6,500, I had people who know I trade stocks, and they're calling me, what should I do? Should I sell everything? Like, hell no, you shouldn't sell everything at 6,500. If you were lucky enough to sell at 12, or 14, but that, I don't think anybody would have recommended you do that. But now that it's at 65, why would you sell? Now's the time you should be buying. And those same people that didn't want to touch the stock market at 6,500, when it got back above 12, were calling me and say, should I get back in? And like I told you, you should have got in at 6,500. You're never going to time the absolute bottom or the absolute top of anything. So when something's cheap, start to buy it. Start to buy it in little increments. If you're a sports card investor, just about the time you want to give up is probably the time you should be buying some things up. Not putting your life savings into it. Not acting like these guys that decided to put every single dime of theirs into Bitcoin. But be smart about it. And, I'm not an investor in sports cards, but sports card investors are here to stay. And if that's what you do, and you're treating it like an investment, then I say get in. But don't, do it in a logical way. Start to buy some things up. Because I'll tell you what, I'm buying cards for next to nothing. Next to nothing. And of course, the big cards are still up there. Maybe a lot of them have come down, but they're still up there. Are we going to see an entire hobby go out of business? In my opinion, no, we are not. Because too many people got into it. Too many people invested too much money in it during the boom. For them all to just throw their cards away, give them all away, close down all the businesses they started, fanatics to go out of business. Nah. The hobby market's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You just got to be smart about it. Can't go all in when things are roaring and then give up and sell everything at the bottom. No one's ever made money doing that in the history of the world. You know, what's funny about investments is, if we compare them to other things, let's take Polo, the brand, Polo clothing. Let's take that for an example. Now, when you go to Macy's or wherever you go, any department store, even online to buy Polo, you know, it never goes on sale. Polo has been a phenomenal company and a phenomenal stock for generations. But their thing is, you know, they rarely go on sale. You got to pay a certain amount of money for Polo. So, if there's a shirt you like and it's $130 and it goes on sale for $30, they have a flash sale, right? And so it goes on sale for $30. Are you going to run and buy 5 of them? Or are you going to say, no, I'm going to wait till it goes back to $130 and then I'll buy 5 of them? You're going to buy them at $30. But this isn't how people invest in sports cards or the stock market. Nope, they wait till it goes back up to $130 and then they can't wait to buy it. And that's not how you make money. The thing is you can do that, right? There are people that, momentum traders, and you could do that for a short term, and you have to have great timing. When you buy shit at the bottom, you don't have to have great timing. You know, it's like short selling. You can end up being right, but if you're not right quick enough, you'll lose your shirt. Right? If you say this stock, I believe it's going to go down, and you short it, but it spikes up higher, you get a margin call, and then it shoots down. You were right, but you still lost a ton of money. So when you're trying to play those momentum plays, when you're trying to just buy at the top, you have a little window there where you can make money for a while. Eventually it'll reverse. And so your timing really has to be impeccable. If you were one of the big guys, Gary Vee or any of the big guys, Vegas Dave, who were flipping these cards in auction and creating the boom, you know, they got out. They sold these cards. I'm going to buy this Mike Trout for $100,000. I'm going to sell it for $400,000. That's what they did. They didn't hold it. Their timing was there. And they created this thing, right? And so you didn't see them hold it in long term. But if you're an investor, if they truly believe in cards or investments, they'd be buying them back now, right? So you can make that money, but not everybody has that kind of timing. And a lot of it's luck. So the smarter thing to do is to buy when there's a big margin of error, right? When you have world-class companies like in the stock market, as an example, with a PE, a forward PE of 5, and a 10% dividend because the market's so horrifying right now. That's when you want to buy. That's when you want to buy. So I think, you know, relating back to sports cards, if you're a collector, man, you got your opportunity again that you thought was squandered away for a lot of cards. Maybe not for all. I still see ridiculous prices on, you know, like the Cracker Jack Ty Cobbs and the Babe Ruths and still Mickey Mantles. Like I still see some asinine prices, like, you know, like, I don't know, a Ty Cobb and a Cracker Jack and a 5 for $122,000, stuff like that. I don't know if they're selling. I haven't been following it, but you still see those prices. And a lot of sellers haven't adjusted. They're still trying to get the prices from 2 years ago. And they're sitting on cards. I see them on there for a year, 2 years. They're not moving. You know, you see them on eBay or whatever. Because they haven't adjusted their mindset that we are no longer living in that market where people are just paying up hand over fist because they can flip them the next day or the next week and make their bank. You know, that's just not that easy to do anymore. And, you know, with the flushing out of a lot of this stuff, you know, investment stuff, you know, the high prices, the craziness, you know, it's, you get back to the collector's mentality and you get back to collecting a little bit. And if anything good came from the boom, hey, maybe we do have a lot of long-term collectors who got in it for the excitement, for the potential of making money, for the fun of flipping. Because as I said, we always focus on the future, and that draws people in. That draws the prospecting. And so, if that's, what brought new collectors to the hobby and brought many more collectors, many more players in the hobby, many more card shops opening up, many more companies offering cool things we can use, more apps, more whatever. That's good overall for the hobby. So, I'm a bit of a deep thinker and I had a lot on my mind. And I wanted to come up here into my card room, enjoy the present for a moment, enjoy the wonderful experience I get of making YouTube videos and interacting with the community, and sharing my thoughts. As always, thanks for watching.